I've been reflecting quite a lot lately on relaxation, and having felt in my own experience how as a practice, it's hard to describe relaxing as a practice, but I will, for lack of a better word. It's much more of a not doing, the fine art of doing nothing, as it's sometimes described, would be a good way to understand relaxation. But I've been curious, just because I'm kind of curious by nature, about what is it that's powerful about it as it relates to exploring the nature of reality and discovering the way in which reality transcends all of our ideas about it, which those of you who know my work know that that's the central thing that I'm sharing. That this really can't be conceived, even though it's showing up as something seemingly describable and definable and conceivable, hence the words I'm even using right now, right? Which suggest I can actually talk about something that has a name to it, and I can describe it to you, and we can describe it to one another. And in some sense we can, and in another sense we really cannot. And of course we tend to live in what seems to be a world where the idea that we can actually capture what's here conceptually is pretty much the status quo, isn't it? It's the consensus sort of view, more or less, that we live, even that we live in a world, and that we are someone living in a world, of course, are we could say almost the most primordial descriptions we seem to hold about ways that this seems to be appearing to be structured in the ways it seems to be structured, patterned, recognizably patterned in the way, one pattern in the visual field from another pattern in the visual field, one pattern of subjective experience from another to another, the sense of the incredible diversity and distinction of all of these patterns, right? The world of experience shows up as patterned, recognizable patterns. I show up to you, especially those of you who have met me before, as a recognizable pattern, and those of you who I have known also show up as recognizable patterns. But when we explore what seems to be patterned at first glance, and maybe even second glance, looking a little bit more carefully at experience, with a little bit more sensitivity, a little bit more like, wait a minute, let me really look and see what this pattern is, apparently, we discover something quite remarkable, that this is unpatterned. This vast infinity won't be collapsed, and is not really actually collapsed into some sort of fixed patterns. It's just, it doesn't, even though it looks like it. That's what's so remarkable. I've used this metaphor before and written about it, of the constellations in the night sky. When we look up at the night sky and we see something like, the Big Dipper, we see it, because we've seen it so many times, and we have this, consciousness has this pattern recognizing tendency, like, there's that pattern, and it looks like something that's familiar to me, right? And there we see a pattern of stars. But you can see, right, how that is an overlay. It's an interpretation that those are patterned. And of course, if we really look at in any moment, there's not just a select number of dots. And if you think of the details of experience as sort of stars in the night sky, the number of details that are present right now in every aspect of experience are truly infinite, limitless, the number of points, if you will, pixels in the field of experience. And because of that, this is one of the reasons why this is not actually patterned. There's too many. You can't connect all those dots and say, there, that's what this is. Actually, you can't do that. So how is it that these patterns seem to hold the kind of sway that they do and seem to be as convincing as they are? Like, oh, I'm having this experience and I'm stuck in this experience, or it's overwhelming, or I am an individual that is encountering the world. I mean, these are, again, it's pattern recognition, this sense of some repeating pattern that I am and that experience is and that the world is. How those patterns are held together, it's whatever we want to call it, habit, conditioning, or kind of our knowledge brought sort of forward in time. Oh, there's that pattern. I recognize that pattern. I think there's a way in which a sense I have of how the patterns are sort of held together in some way, almost like energetically. All of this is just happening very non-consciously for the most part. But there's something about relaxation that I just want to invite you into now as a way of helping to discover the absolute openness of everything, how nothing is actually fixed into some kind of set, stable, identifiable pattern, but much more just an absolute fluid expanse. So just feeling, just as you sit here, just resting, really, just let it be that simple. Relaxing everything. Just letting everything that's appearing that we might describe as the body, just let it be completely open and relaxed, and nothing needing to be held in place, not having to hold in place any of the patterns, like freezing them somehow, but actually just allowing them to be as they are, which is not frozen and not fixed and on the move and fluid and dynamic. This is why there really aren't things, right? Because everything is in this process. Just feel the openness of this constant fluidity and flow that doesn't hold still. And in that sense this is another sense in which the patterns are not fixed. They're in that way, there really are not patterns because they're not holding still. So how can there be a pattern, right? Do you feel that? Feel that. Just relax any effort to try to hold in place anything, to hold in place the body, the pattern that we call the body. Just allowing it to just be wide open, which it is. Not having to hold anything in place. The thoughts may seem to kind of congeal and form sort of patterns that are fixed somehow and stable, but just relaxing the mind completely. Not having to hold anything in place, just resting. We can't hold anything in place, which is why it can be so exhausting to try to hold things in place, to try to keep the moment a certain way. The moment will not be kept a certain way. It is not its nature. The moment is alive. In that sense, again, not patterned. It's moving. The patterns are changing. Hence, there really are no fixed patterns. So just relaxing, just the simple ease of being. Relaxing any sense of boundedness, of fixedness, of form, and just it's just this absolute release of any holding, release of holding any energy in place, any forms in place, any patterns in place, letting them all fly freely. That's a relaxation. Everything is fundamentally relaxed. In a sense, we're just tuning into that inherent relaxation of everything just being itself effortlessly, flowing effortlessly, becoming in this ceaseless dance of becoming, all of this just spontaneously arising and releasing and arising and releasing. This is the naturalness of this reality, this shining of reality, completely at ease with itself, isn't it? Just being itself as all of these expressions of what we call body and mind and personality, and even the arising of the apparent patterns, just it perfectly at ease, not needing to be different, but fundamentally releasing. The patterns release upon their formation, and they do this effortlessly. And so we can just relax with this that is relaxed and at ease naturally. Just everything wide open. If you imagine the body and the mind like any kind of tightening, like a fist just tightening, that's just absolutely like not needing to hold anything in place, not needing to hold the body in place, the mind in place, energy in place, not needing to hold anything. And of course, nothing can really be held because everything is releasing. In the moment of its birth, it releases. If there's any sense of being bound up somehow, separate from anything, any sense of boundary, just relaxing, any sense of separation, of boundedness. It's just the body mind, just this flow, and the supposed world outside of the body mind, just more of the flow. It's just a seamless, relaxed life, mixing with life in all its dimensions and permutations, but everything completely relaxed and at ease. Nothing pushing against anything else, because there's just this singular expanse of life, being everything. Feel that being that is being everything, the beingness of everything. Completely at ease, isn't it? The ease that is the basis of everything, the basis of you, the basis of each moment, the basis of everything that appears, this beingness. Like finding the ease at the center of everything. The beingness is at ease. The beingness of your despair is at ease. The beingness of your frustration is at ease. the beingness of confusion at ease. The beingness is this unstructured, unpatterned aliveness. Nothing definable, nothing pin downable. This beingness appearing as all of this structure and definability, which is beautiful, but none of it actually can be determined and pinned down, despite how much it looks like it is. It's free. It's free of name. It's free of description. It's free of obstruction, free of limitation, free of identity. Free of everything. And it is what you are, this freedom. Freedom from all patterns, from all limitations, from all delineations and definitions and descriptions. Free of patterning. Free of any sense of fixedness, of definition, because of this self-releasing of each instant. There's such a relaxation in that, isn't there? Nothing to hold to, impossible to hold to anything. Each perception is free. Free as itself. Just like the last however many minutes. It's gone, free. Gone, not here. No longer. In other words, nothing is holding, nothing, we're not being held down by any past. Where the past is gone, there's just this freshness. Free of history. History can be included as part of this and is included as part of this, but this is free of its history at the same time, even as it includes everything. It includes all of this that's appearing, including memory and history and time. But it's not, none of that actually captures what it is, because its essence is uncapturable. That's the freedom. No boundary anywhere, right? The energy of all of this wide open, nothing closed. Feel that, nothing is closed. Everything is wide open, completely naked, completely vulnerable in that sense, of its wide openness, nothing shielded from anything else, nothing barricaded against anything else, but just this relaxed openness of everything. The relaxed openness of everything. This is the being at the heart of all of this. This relaxed openness that simply is. The isness at the root of everything. Completely open. No defenses. Just the radical embrace of everything. Because everything is its expression, the expression of this beingness. So There's nothing to accept or reject. This is just its expression. So all of it is welcomed in its very appearance.